Hello, beautiful ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions. And if you haven't heard the fifth dimension or don't know much about it, please stick around. I'm going to give you a special 5D message at the end. And take it from someone who's been forged in the fire of difficult third dimensional experiences and come out the other side. You don't want to miss that message. Today we are looking at Amira Willighagen, Caruso. And that's exciting. Let's see. By the way, does this mean like a compilation or something of Caruso songs? I don't know. Look how beautiful she is. She's probably like maybe 20, 21 right here, I think. Oh my goodness, and look at that gorgeous dress.
Davanti al golfo di Sorrento, un uomo abbraccia una ragazza dopo che aveva pianto, poi si schiarisce la voce e ricomincia il canto. Ti voglio bene, sai, ma tanto bene sai, io non conto ormai, che sei sanguinante bene sai.
Oh, we gotta go back and hear that again. Did you hear that? That beauty of her voice just blows me away. By the way, like this, and later on when we're done, go like this one. I'll put the link in the notes because this is really something. I don't know, this opera type thing always just lifts me up. And it is in the heights, isn't it? Oh, let's go back a little. I want to hear it.
In mezzo al mare, penso al nuotare in America, ma erano solo le lampade e la bianca scia di un'elica. Sentì il dolore nella musica, si alzò dal pianoforte, ma quando vide la luna uscire da una nuvola, mi sembra proprio qui la morte. Guardo negli occhi la ragazza, quelli veri come il mare, poi all'improvviso uscì una lacrima e lui credette di affogare. Te voglio bene, sai, ma tanto bene sai, io
to hear that again, don't you? Do you have any idea why this is called Caruso? I mean, I thought it was going to be maybe a compilation of his songs, but is there like an operetta about Caruso, or what is this song from? What is about this song? Why is it called Caruso? And do you love her dress too? Holy moly! I want to know who that designer is. You see the sleeves of that thing? Let me know if you're that's knocking your socks off too. Here we go. Back again. Wow, so beautiful she sings this. Let's hear it.
Oh, il mare, poi all'improvviso improvvi susci una lacrima e li credetti di affogare. Te voglio bene assai, ma tanto, tanto bene sai. Io nacco tanto ormai, che solo il sangue delle vene sai. Te voglio bene assai, ma tanto, tanto bene sai. Io nacco tanto ormai, che solo il sangue delle vene sai. Che solo il sangue delle vene sai.
Oh my goodness. How long did she hold that note? Let's hear that again. Oh, hold on. I got to hear that. I'm going to count it. Wait. Eight seconds on that one. Still pretty long compared to anybody else, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. Oh, I heard she holds one note 23 seconds in one of her songs, and I'm going to have to find that song because I don't know what one it is. But oh, another beautiful, beautiful one. So uplifting, so delicious, so luscious, so beautiful. I mean, the melody of that and the way she sang it, so profoundly beautiful. Oh, what can you say? Now, I had a sense that the song, I don't know what the song's about. Can you please comment if you know what the song is about? Anything about the meaning of it or anything like that? Because I had a feeling like it was someone who overcame something or was overcoming something. And there was a touch of sadness in there, you know. That's kind of what I feel it is. So, you know, third dimensional video being third dimensional being a 1 on that scale, and a very fifth dimensional of a peace, love, joy, bliss is a 5, and a third is fear, pain, suffering, and all that. So on that scale of 1 to 5, so beautiful. But also I feel that sort of third dimensional longing or sadness or overcoming or whatever. So I'm going for like a 4.75 because still very uplifting, very luscious, very delicious. And it's beautiful. Anything beautiful is so fifth dimensional. Like beauty is fifth dimension. Beauty of the voice, beauty of music, beauty of art, beauty of the landscape, all kinds of beauty, beauty of the body, you know, which we form however we like, is very fifth dimensional. So God bless you. Once again, you've brought us a gem here, Amira. Now, I've heard recently that you know about her charity, hopefully by now, Gelukskinder, which is Happy Children, where she started this when she first started making money as a child to have happy children. She says happy children become happy adults, and doing things like making playgrounds and all kinds of things with children who are underprivileged. And she's now the CEO of that, and she made this amazing video, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm told is amazing, that will kind of bring you to tears, so to speak, about her work there. And she's singing as she's showing the thing. So I'm going to put that link to that video, and you could go check it out. And if you feel generous, maybe you want to give a donation, your donation for the week or whatever. So that she just has a heart of gold, this one. So And now, you might want to know a little bit more about me, by the way, and I tell you about my Forged in the Fire journey. And you can find out a bit more about that if you go to, there's a video here on YouTube, just a 3-minute video. I certainly can't tell that journey in 3 minutes, but it directs you to a longer video. Adversity and hardship is such a training ground. So if you want to know the things that I'm doing to be of service to people, you can actually find that out on, you'd go to my YouTube channel description and hit the drop down and go all the way down to Patreon about Lorelei. So beautiful ones. This is so uplifting. I love doing her songs because I come out of the song just feeling great. I go on with the rest of my day. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm high on a cloud, Anyway, what is the message for today? What is the monetary setup on fifth dimensional Earth? So right now, let's talk about what we're talking about for those of you who are new here. Third dimensional Earth, a reality we've been living in for tens of thousands of years, which is that reality, that Earth of fear and pain and suffering and hardship and lack and scarcity and the whole 9 yards like that. And the fifth dimensional Earth, which is really a consciousness shift. It's a shift up here which creates it all, being the divine sparks of God that we are. Our consciousness created the third dimensional and had it sprung up around us. And now our consciousness is going to the fifth dimensional and have that spring up around us. Okay? And I've seen this in concrete reality in people's lives many times, how when they change their thinking, the whole new world springs up around them. Done that, seen it over and over and over again in transformational personal growth. So it's absolutely possible when we all put our, so to speak, heads together for this. So once we get to that beautiful place, what's it going to be? Well, let's first of all talk about how money has been on this earth. And as many of you know, it's been a kind of a dirty situation with the Federal Reserve being actually not federal at all, but a kind of overarching agency that does money for us in the United States, but has nothing to do with our government. So what it turns out to be is a bunch of extremely rich elite bankers who are driving the wealth or not lack of wealth in our entire country, and in fact, around the entire world. In fact, all of these Federal Reserve-like bankers, some call them banksters, are connected in banks all around the world. And what they do with the money system, now, is not very pretty. It's kept the entire of humanity in deprivation and scarcity and poverty for who knows how long, because this has been going on even before that came into our sort of new world in the medieval ages or whatever, when you had kings and you had serfs and all of that, okay? So it's a long, long time that we have not had a money system that is fair and that makes everyone have a good life. So that is one of the biggest concerns of humanity. As a matter of fact, every individual in life, one of our biggest concerns is that how do we take care of our bills? How do we pay for things? When there never seems to be, in the third dimensional reality, there always seems to be a lot more going out than we're ever taking in. So now we've gotten into massive amounts of debt with the bringing in of credit cards, and you can have everything you want, but you're going to have to pay for it later. And what was the price of bringing in all of that? And on top of the whole thing is that now people work and work and work and work, and hardly have any free time whatsoever just to try to just maintain an existence. Not even the most exciting of existences in many cases. I mean, certainly some people have risen above that, are making lots of good money if they're very, very good at what they do. But for the most part, the average human being can work and work and work and work. Even mothers, even the fathers, work and work and work and work and still hardly feel like they're making ends meet. So that's been a kind of a dirty system that's been forced upon us in many ways. And what's going to happen now as we come to fifth dimension? Well, first, let's really understand that when we are fully and solidly in fifth dimension, we actually have no need for money, right? Because we can, through our divine consciousness, manifest into existence anything we want. Do I want a pair of headsets? Here it goes. Do you want a bracelet like this? There it is. Do I want an apple? There it is. Do I want an eggplant? There it is. I can manifest into reality, in form, anything I desire instantaneously. But that's a pretty high level. That's when we're solidly in the fifth dimension. So what are the steps to get there? Because it's a little bit of a ways to get there, right? We know we have that possible. We know Jesus walked on water. We know he changed the water to wine. We know Moses parted the Red Sea. We know Tibetan monks sit and melt the earth, the ice around them on the top of a mountain and maintain their body temperature. We know all that can happen, but we don't feel like we're even close to that yet. Any of us, right? So what are the steps to get there? So first of all, there are in existence among, as we understand it, the rich elite again, there are in existence these replicators. There's the ability to literally replicate anything. You just punch in what it is you want and out it comes. Punch in a house, punch in a car, punch in this picture on the wall, anything you want, out it comes. And it's utilizing this concept of free energy. And I heard a term for this, 0 point energy. What I've heard is the term for this energy. Now, what does that mean, 0 point energy? So you can, first of all, you can utilize the 0 point energy to pull together all the tiniest particles of matter, which is something called quarks, and your consciousness along with that 0 point energy, pull it all together to create anything. Because that's how we did it in the beginning, when the divine spark called, many called God, some called prime creator. That's what he did when he first did it, right? He basically used that endless amount of energy to pull together quarks into different configurations for different things, planets and suns and galaxies and the asteroids and everything that's out there, right? That's what happened. So we can also begin to use that kind of divine ability. Now, until we get to the area where we can use that fully on our own, we have these replicators which are able to use that. And as we're using these replicators and we're seeing, oh, wow, this can be done, we're getting to understand more and more the power that we have as divine sparks. And that's when we're going to get to that stage where we can do it without the replicator. But for the beginning, we want to have those replicators. So once you have a replicator, what do you need money for? Do you need anything? Do you literally need money for anything? If you could just punch it in the numbers there and you get it? I don't think so, right? But that still seems like a long, long way off, right? So what are the steps that we're going to get from here to even to have the replicators? Well, one thing, clean up the dirtiness out in the world, in politics and stuff like that. There are many politicians and people who are in positions of power, individuals in positions of power, who certainly do not want us to have our power, to never have to have money or to never have to pay for their energy or to never have to buy their car or whatever. They are happy with having a ton of power and having a lot more power than you or I. That makes them happy. They don't want to lose that power. They'd rather be the big dog, right? And everybody else, be the little serfs at their feet. There are a lot of them out there like that. In politics, in industry, in all, you name it, they're out there, okay? So those ones who have to have their mind shifted a lot, that's going to help with the lights coming in, right? The light coming in. And the ones who are downright criminals, they're going to have to be gotten out of the picture, so to speak. I don't mean in like any way that harms them or anything, but if they're committing crimes, they're going to need to be held accountable for those crimes. And they're going to need to not be able to commit those crimes anymore. Okay? So that's just the bottom line. The very first thing that needs to happen is to take those ones who are in positions of power, who want to make sure that you never have a great life so that they can have it all. They got to be taken out of those positions of power. They got to not have that power anymore. So that is beginning to happen in our world. A lot of things are happening in the direction of getting people back their power. Now, that still, seems like a tough thing to do, but once we've gotten that taken care of, then what can happen? Well, about 2013 or so, I first heard about this thing called GSARA, which was a Global Economic Securities and something Act, okay? And NASARA, National Economic Securities. I wish I remembered what this is exactly. But what it was like a whole plan for how we would raise the prosperity of humanity so that everybody was living a great life, and so that all the crimes and the harmful things that were hurting people would stop, right? And so that we would have a wonderful world that people love to live on. And this is actually out there in the world. There's many, many people who've been following it, probably millions, maybe even more, I don't know, maybe tens of millions. I don't know, but there's a lot of people that have been following this, and there are certain aspects to it of ways that money and prosperity would be brought to the public. And these are what we call prosperity funds. So there are lots of different ways that may or may not happen as needed to get money out to the public. I know that the administration is trying to do things like taking away the income tax, no tax on tips. At some point, hopefully taking away the entire income tax, which will give everybody a lot more money. What I've heard about is that there's this enormous stockpile of value that's been held by somebody called the Chinese elders. In other words, there were Chinese elders, like from the old families, I guess, of China, who weren't real happy with communism coming in and been stockpiling all of this wealth and whatnot because they did not want the people to have their power and their money stripped away. And they've been stockpiling it for hundreds and hundreds of years. And lots of it, just tons and tons, is this like prosperity funds that are going to be released at some point to the world by these, I think, benevolent families who know about this coming 5D shift. And so that's another thing. We'll see if that happens, if that doesn't happen. But that's been a conversation out for a long, long time that I've heard out in the world. There has been something called an RV, which is possible, a sort of a reallocation of money. In other words, like if you had certain types of currency, then they were going to take that currency in and give you certain amounts of money for it. If you had certain, what they call projects, like humanitarian projects, so that certain snippets of people that had this currency and also had a humanitarian project would be given, like, exchange that currency for money that would go toward a humanitarian project. I don't know. We'll see whether that happens. That's another way. And you were supposed to, the idea was that if you were going to come on board and do this, you better be doing it for the good of humanity. You were not doing it just so you could, prosper yourself. You were doing it for the good of humanity. So we'll see if that comes about. There's something called Saint Germain's prosperity funds. Ascended Master Saint Germain, and apparently he's been very involved in the earth and has been creating different ways for getting money out to the people, because he understands that if you're still in lack and scarcity, it's going to be hard to assimilate all this light coming in and to feel like you're going to be able to move up. It could cause fears and all of this. You need to take the fear of survival off the plate of the human population. And we asked for this help, by the way, when we came to a certain high vibration as the consciousness. Okay, we asked for this help. So this is one of the ways that the help was coming. Now I'm just telling you many, many, many different ways that there are. I know the president, when he was running for office, he was putting out coins and all kinds of things. Take these things and they're going to have more value later. And I do believe that they will. And that's another way to get money out to the entire population. So there's just lots and lots and lots going on. We're going to see what happens when, if the IRS indeed does go away, if the Federal Reserve does get revamped. I think when we were looking at it, when I was researching it back around 2013, they thought that whole thing was going to have to be collapsed down and, start over again. But I think the president has different ideas, actually thinking that he can reform it. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see if he reforms the FBI. We'll see how all of that goes. But, okay, so that's basically your message for today. There's all these steps along the way to get us to a more and a more and a more abundant place where we have no worry about anything, where finally, in the end, we can actually just manifest whatever we want, just using our divine conscious spark of God. Okay, beloved ones, I'm sending you that wonderful fifth dimensional energy, that abundance, that peace, that bliss, that joy, that harmony, that massive prosperity for everyone, a world that works for everyone. Sending it right now. Namaste. I honor the God in you.
we love you.